Hey, this is Steve in Dallas, Texas. It's Saturday morning, my friend, and you are listening to Light Talk.
And this is Ellen coming to you from the beautiful island of St. Bart's, and you are listening to Light Talk.
Coming to you direct from New York City, this is Dennis. On this episode of Light Talk, we have a very special guest with us today. Designer, author, self-proclaimed lighting geek, the man who advised us how to feed the machine, Brad Schiller himself.
And this is David coming to you from the beautiful Belmont Shore neighborhood of Long Beach, California. And if you don't already know, you are listening to Light Talk, and we are the Lumen Brothers
and Sister.
That's right, Ellen. Welcome, everyone, to episode 432.
So, David, you're back. You're back. You're on dry land. I hear you were cruising.
I was cruising. I went to visit some friends in Paris and also southern France. My good colleague, Kevin Knight, who's the scenic and costume designer of many shows that I've done with him and Paul Curran, and his husband, who's also named Paul. You know, it could be very confusing here, but not the same Paul, the director that I've worked with. And then we went to Barcelona for a couple of days and boarded a Virgin Cruise. Let me tell you, Virgin Cruise Company, awesome cruise company, absolutely awesome. And Lori and I had a terrific time. We've been on a few cruises now that we're in the more of the retirement phase of life. You know, we're doing the old shuffleboard cruises. You know, if it has a shuffleboard court, we're on board. So it's been great. And we went all around the Mediterranean and a few other places and ended up in Rome and then came back here. So, yeah, that's what we've been doing. Now, for listeners who've checked in over the past 2 weeks, we did not have new episodes of Light Talk. We actually had the best of Light Talk, and we reran Paulie Constable interview and also the Wendell Harrington interview. We've been getting a lot of reaction from that. People who are really grateful that we reran those two Light Talk episodes, because there's a lot of info there for our student listeners and for everybody, as a matter of fact. I think Paulie talks a lot about what it's like being a woman and mother and dealing with the profession and being as successful as she is and has been. And Wendell, of course, her experience with David Byrne and Talking Heads and Stop Making Sense, all that is on there as well. So if you haven't listened to the previous 2 weeks, go back and listen, and really, really terrific shows. So yeah, that's what I did. And also on the ship, because the Virgin Cruises, they really don't allow anyone under 18 to be sailors on the ship, which is terrific as far as I'm concerned. The entertainment was rather sophisticated. Now, when I say sophisticated, it's not the sophisticated you used to hear. It's like, okay, topless shows, things like that. That's not the type of sophisticated I'm talking about. It was much more theatrical with some pretty important things. They try to stay non-political, but it's really hard to stay non-political nowadays. And it was terrific. And I saw some amazing productions, dance theater pieces. One piece was called Dual Realities, and that was in their theater, this amazing theater that they have. It's sort of like a block box multiform theater. And it's really beautifully designed. The lighting designer was Erwan Bernard, I believe is how you pronounce it. And I must say that it was some incredibly sensitive and beautiful lighting. We just absolutely adored it. And it was one of those shows, and it was funny because we actually got a letter from a listener with a question about how do you talk about a production that you're on, with your creative team, that something's not working, and it just doesn't feel right. And I believe they had this problem with this show at the very end, which we'll talk about probably next week. But it was, they could have cut the last 5 minutes off the show. But the first 55 minutes were fabulous. You know what I mean? It was fabulous, but you talk about gilding the lily, and it was like, no, don't do this. It was like one of those things. And it was such a beautiful show, and I just said the last 5 minutes. You
Why? What did they do? Don't keep us in suspense.
Listen in next. We'll talk about it next week. I don't want to take the time. I don't want to take the time away from Brad today.
Okay,
we got
poor
a lot
Brad.
to talk
Okay,
about Brad, and we love Brad.
All right. Well, before we get to Brad, I have one little news announcement. Our dear friend Clifton Taylor who's doing a great job with the Studio School of Design, which he runs with Mark Stanley. And they are doing their first in-person course in lighting design fundamentals. And it will be in a newly fitted Light Lab classroom in Manhattan, 12 weeks from September 8th to November 24th, Saturday mornings and Monday evenings, taught by lighting design professionals, covering topics including live events, console training, research, drawing, presentation, collaboration skills. The full 12 weeks, that's in person, is $1,500 with a 20% early bird discount if paid on or before August 1st. There are also limited scholarships available. Deadline, complete deadline is August 15th. Registration and information is at their website, studioschoolofdesign.org/courses/lighting design fundamentals. So take a look at that. That sounds very exciting. It sounds like a college level course that they're offering there. And I think everyone should take a look.
That's a great opportunity, isn't it?
It is. It's awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the other designers are, but I mean, Clifton and Mark Stanley alone are, phenomenal instructors.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be great. If I were in Manhattan, I'd go audit it, but I'm not. So there we go. And now I'd like to tell us a little bit about Brad, who I've known for, probably 30 years at least. He is a well-known figure in the entertainment lighting industry and recently joined GLP to lead the new... Yay, Brad! He joined GLP to lead the new lighting technology engagement team based out of the company's America's headquarters in Los Angeles, California, where he does not live. And I always love to tease someone he works with, Mark Ravenhill, who is the only Brit I know who lives in Nashville and works for a German company whose offices are in Los Angeles. So clearly they are global. So with nearly 40 years experience, Brad is a true industry veteran. He started his career in the mid-'80s as a technician and programmer on many different productions, including The Crystal Method, The Smashing Pumpkins, ZZ Top, Motley Crue, Tim McGraw, Shania Twain, Metallica, the Oscars, the Grammys, the Super Bowl, Stars on Ice, and the Sydney Olympic opening and closing ceremonies. In this decades-spanning career, Brad has also been at the forefront of many lighting innovations that have made their way into the mainstream from his work with various manufacturers, while also being the author of multiple industry articles and books, including The Automated Lighting Programmer's Handbook and Living the Lighting Life. He has also been a featured speaker, most recently at the Showlight Quadrennial in Dijon, France, and has frequently spoken at LDI over the years. So welcome back to Light Talk, Brad.
Thank you. It's great to be back here. And it's great to have a sister on here now. Last time I was here, it was just the brothers.
Just the guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
too much testosterone on this.
Right. Well, we're going to toss this over to Steve to ask the first question.
I want to know, is it true that you designed your first show at the age of 5? And if it's not true, when did you get in this industry?
Well, you said I designed my first show at age 5. I'm not sure where that data comes from. I don't recall that. But I can tell you where I started with lighting, and this is a great little story. Sometime when I was about 2 or 3 years old, I was told that I was playing with a little model train. My father was into trains. There was a small little light bulb at the front of the engine. And somehow that light bulb got unscrewed and went up my nose. And I had to go to the emergency room to have the light bulb removed from my nose. So call that my first design, maybe?
Yeah,
All right, so it was at age 2 you started.
Sure.
Wow.
From there,
That's
from there, my
hilarious.
love of
Good.
lighting started. Light bulb up the nose.
That is the most interesting answer that we've ever gotten for that one.
So, Brad, if you didn't have that early education, and I remember from the first episode you did for Light Talk, 7 years ago, you mentioned that you never went to college. So if you never went to college and you've done such incredible work and are an extremely talented artist, where did that artistic sensibility develop? Where did that come from?
Well, clearly it was from the light bulb in my nose. Clearly, that's the answer.
Some people have worms in their brain, and other people have light bulbs up their nose.
That's
So
right.
there must be something there.
I think it's just an internal drive and passion that has led me my entire career. I have so much fun with lighting, and I just strive to learn more and more about it and improve myself and my skills, and then turn around and share that knowledge. It's just been a drive I've always had.
So how did you get connected with the first people that hired you?
Well, I started off, as many do, as a freelancer. And actually, I should back up and say I did go to college. I did some college. I did not get a degree, but I did do some college when I was living in Dallas, some community college and other things. And I also did a semester at CalArts. But even at CalArts, I had been working in the industry for 7 years prior to that. And they basically said to me, "Why are you here? You're teaching us." Because I had more experience with moving lights at that point than that school had at that time.
That's funny.
So just being a freelancer and learning on the job, as it were, I continued to grow from there. But I did do some education a little bit. I just didn't graduate and get a degree.
So how'd you get the first freelance gigs?
Working hard. I couldn't tell you. That was a long time ago. Coming out of high school, I was excited in high school working and doing things in school. And then I started working at a small theater in Irving, Texas, working there on staff as a lighting technician, and just kind of grew from there and started working with the union, started working with local rental shops, and just grew and learned as I went. I read Lighting Dimensions back in the early days too.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Were you at LDI in Dallas in 1988?
I was. In fact, I've been at every LDI except for the second one.
Wow, you missed Nashville.
Yep, I missed the second one, but all the rest I've been to.
Wow. Good for you.
We covered a lot of this stuff in our first interview, which was great. And there, you've got some news for us.
You're referring to my new job? Yeah, totally.
Yeah, your new opportunity.
I mean, it's brand new, right?
Someone
Brand
actually
new.
hired you. That's really fantastic, Brad. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I started about a month ago at GLP, German Light Products, and the fantastic company. Reminds me a lot of the old days when I first started at High End a long, long time ago. A small little family-oriented company doing a lot of really cool creative things. And it's looking great so far, and I'm thrilled to be here with GLP.
Who actually owns that company?
From my understanding, it's Udo, who is the owner. He's the owner and CEO based in Germany.
And the American headquarters, as we said, is in Los Angeles.
Correct.
But you guys are going to be in Tennessee.
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about GLP, and let's talk about the future of lighting, because GLP's, since I've known of them, which has been several years, and have worked with their equipment, they've been one of the real pioneers of new technology, and especially bringing it to the United States over here. And all the changes that are happening, both in the actual light sources, whether it be LED or laser or whatever, and of course AI coming in now. Where do you think we're going with all this stuff, and what is GLP's going to surprise us with?
So GLP is, as you know, very well known for unique products. The JDC1 strobe has been very popular. The X bars are extremely popular and well known across many different genres. And even the X5 wash lights now are finding their way on Broadway and other places. And that's where GLP is super strong, is with the unique products, not following the same path as many other manufacturers, creating the same profiles and washes that are the bread and butter of lighting, of course. But GLP tries to create new, unique, creative tools for the designers. And that's going to continue. It's crazy for me after all these years of working with different fixtures to now be working with the Mad Max, which is this ginormous 450-pound light. It's very different. You can only figure out where to show it is very different. Show it outside to show the beam, but it also has use on concert stages. It's actually going to be used on Shakespeare in the Park here this summer. So it's being used theatrically. And it's an exciting, really unique opportunity to take something completely different and apply it into all the different genres. And that's where GLP is headed, is continuing along those lines of creating new and unique items that aren't the same old, and seeing where they can fit into the industry.
It seems that was the case from the get-go, and they sort of I think, snapped on the scene in the States with the impression bars. Yeah, and that really, really made everybody sit up and pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. And so being able to have that, and then GLP drove in with the really unique at the time color rendering and color mixing going RGB lime. And they were one of the first manufacturers to head in with that and get that really, really nice quality of light out of the fixtures. We're now seeing other manufacturers follow with the RGB lime, but GLP was one of the first, and that has helped them to grow on Broadway stages and in other markets on television and all, with the improved color quality throughout all the product ranges.
Did you just love it at Showlight when Clifton gave his speech and said that lime was the key to successful LED lighting?
Yeah, that was wonderful. That was really a great tie-in for sure.
Yep.
And I have a question for Dennis. I'm going to go on the Dennis, because LED is being used now, obviously, in broadcasting a lot. Has LED reached a point now where you're not having any issues with flesh tones?
It depends on the fixture.
Of course. But let's just talk about the good ones.
Well, it depends what you mean by good. I mean, we just launched the new studio for Good Morning America, and the profile moving light of choice I used was the Halcyon, and the image quality and the color quality and everything is pretty damn good. The biggest problem is the size, is the scale. Going back to what Brad was saying about his 400 million pound light, the studios these days, we need smaller is better, and although I put probably 50 or 60 Halcyons, I needed smaller lights. So I ended up putting Lone Stars in. The Lone Star doesn't have, as you well know, I'm sure you've used them, it doesn't have the same color rendering index, and it's a problem for flesh tones. Every time I go to lunch with Mark Ravenhill, I keep saying, when the hell is GLP going to create a small Lico? I mean, the FR1, the Impression FR1 is my favorite weapon in most studios. And in this new studio, I probably put 50 or 60 in. And what we need in television for the studios that are being built now is a profile unit that's similar to the FR1. Something on that smaller scale that's not a DJ type product, that has some good quality, good intensity, a good shutter assembly. And as I said, I'm always yelling at Mark about that. So now I'll yell at Brad about that, because I think GLP is the company that could come out with that. It's unfortunate that it's not unfortunate, but if I have to use smaller moving lights, it's either going to be a Diablo or a Lone Star, but they're still large. I need something half that size, and nobody has marketed that yet.
Well, GLP actually does have some small moving heads that are not as well known yet. You're going to start seeing them around soon, because we're about to kick off a GLP Road Show. And then you'll see some other products coming by the end of the year that I think you'll be very excited by as well. But for example, the S500 is a spot and a wash. There's two different fixtures with really great color rendering, framing, and a very small size profile. So when we kick off this road show in 2 weeks, you'll see us in various cities, and you'll see those products as well as all the other GLP products.
Are you guys coming to LA?
Yeah, we're actually starting in LA at our headquarters there.
If you were going to invite me to come by the road show, I would really like to see it.
Of course, I'm going to invite you to be there. Invite everybody, all of you.
All right, right, okay. I love GLP. I love the equipment from the very start. The little light. Dennis was talking about small profile fixtures. GLP had them. I mean, they were great. Mm-hmm. I mean. And I used them in live theater, just to put at the edge of the stage and just get some uplight, They weren't the most powerful, but I didn't need that power. And I know Dennis probably doesn't need that power either. But I think that's a really exciting place to go, with your fixtures.
Sheesh.
So after you go to Los Angeles and Nashville, where else is the roadshow heading?
Then they'll go to New York. So we're going to attack those three big cities first. And then we've got more cities coming after that I'm not ready to announce exactly where yet, but it's going to be announced soon. We're putting together everything still right now.
So, what made you decide to sit down and write a book in the middle of all this?
Well, a long time ago, I started writing for a magazine many, many, many years ago under the encouragement of Richard Cadena. And I started writing, and I saw what he did. He took his first year of articles and wrote a book. And when I started writing, my first magazine article was about numbering your fixtures when you're putting them in and doing your patch for your automated lighting console, and how to number them starting at 1. So you start at 1 or 31 or 41 or 101 and not start at 0. I received so many emails back from people saying, "That's great. I never thought of that. You helped me so much." That's when I realized there was a lot of information to share with the industry, and the industry was hungry for the information, and I really enjoyed sharing it. So after I began writing for the magazine, I finally saw what Richard did and said I should write a book as well. And so I took that and started writing the Automated Lighting Programmer's Handbook, which came out over 20 years ago now. And I'm proud to say that I'm working on the 5th edition right now. So the 5th edition will be out sometime next year, but I'm in the process of working on the 5th edition of that book.
Right. And Brad, I want to personally thank you for that book, because when that book came out, someone sent me a desk copy, and I said, it's about time. It's about time somebody actually wrote a great text for these students who are, because again, that area of the industry of technology has exploded over the years and continues to exponentially change because due to technology and AI and everything else that's going on. So I've used it for 20 years. Thank you, Brad. So I just want to thank you for from the students for giving them this type of resource.
So Brad, for all the high school students who are listening to the show, why do you start with a number 1 as opposed to a 0?
That's a great question. You have to read the book to find out.
There you go. He plugged the book, and now he's teased us. I mean, give us something,
right.
All right?
That's right.
Love it.
So, Brad, we were talking about your books, and I have not read it, but I'd love to know more about Living the Lighting Life, a guide to a career in entertainment lighting, because who knows, I might want to have a career in entertainment lighting.
Well, this would be the guide for you then. This book is something I wrote a couple of years back because I talked to a lot of young people who are interested in working in this wonderful industry. And while they were trained on lighting and creativity and cueing and all that, they didn't have the knowledge provided to them of how to actually get a job, how to promote themselves, how to travel, how to have a work-life balance. All these different elements of actually being in this industry were not provided to them through their education or through their working life that they've had. So I started off working on that, and I talk about all the different jobs you can have, not just being a lighting designer or a programmer. There's so many other roles you can have in this industry. And then I go on to talk about how to pay your taxes, set up a corporation, so many aspects that are important for being in this business. And I felt that was really important to share that knowledge out as well.
That's fabulous. I don't know if you're aware, but the Lumen Brothers have now started a series about young designers, and we've had a few designers on talking about their journey, mainly because we came to realize that so many young designers who are emerging in their career don't have that knowledge. It's not something that they're taught at school. So kudos to you for writing the book.
Well, thank you. And I also interviewed 8 different professionals about their career path and what they've done and how they got to where they are. And again, not just lighting designers and programmers, but professional crew chiefs and salespeople and different roles and how they've navigated this wonderful career.
Oh, that's wonderful. Because too often, as you know, lighting designers or young people in college think that the only thing that will be successful is if they get their Tony on Broadway.
Exactly.
They're unaware of all of the different roles and occupations that await them if they're willing to investigate.
Exactly. And then I took that book and I actually spun it around a little bit, and I wrote Living the Audio Life, a guide to a career in live entertainment sound. And a lot of the information is very similar, like how to travel and work-life balance and pay your taxes. But I also interviewed a lot of audio people that I know and put a lot of information in regarding jobs in the audio realm as well. So It's a spin-off of the lighting book.
You'll have to be a guest on Audio Talk someday with the Sound Brothers.
Exactly. I got to schedule that.
Well, Brad, I've got a question for you. Tell us what exactly is your role in new lighting technology engagement. What are you doing at GLP?
Yeah, what do you do for Initech, right? Yes, so it's really exciting. Joining GLP, we formed a new division or team called Lighting Technology Engagement, of which I'm the director of Lighting Technology Engagement. And then there's 2 other staff members working with me that are Lighting Technology Engagement specialists. And that's a lot of words, but basically what it means is we're the ones who work directly with designers, programmers, end users, students, to make sure that they understand what the products are coming from GLP, how they work. We're their key liaison. If they're working with them on a show and they have questions, they can reach out to us, and we're here to help. And just really be the ones to promote all the GLP products here in the U.S. and North America.
It must take a lot of time. I mean, there's a lot of people you have to meet.
Yes, there is. There's a lot of designers to help them with their shows. We go out and help on the shows. We organize road shows where we're going and doing demonstrations of products. We also go and help the sales team when they're doing demos and going to their different dealers and all. So it's a full-time job for sure, and there's a lot involved. And I'm just thrilled to be working with a great team of people so we can all share the resources and share the time as well.
Brad, I know you've been involved in the GDTF and MVR development. Can you tell us what that is and what's going on there, the advances that have been made and what companies are involved?
Yeah, I can certainly talk about it. I do want to clarify I'm not involved in the development at all. I'm an advocate for GDTF and a hearty supporter of it, but I did not have anything to do with the development of it. GDTF is very, very important to the industry for programmers especially, but also for designers and technicians, because GDTF stands for General Device Type Format, which is another wordy bit of language that basically the best way I like to think of it is a digital twin. So previously in our industry, we've had a problem with manufacturers create a new light, and then they submit a DMX chart or DMX protocol out to different applications, to CAD programs, to visualizers, to lighting consoles. And that was the information that they had to work with to then create the control and representation of a light. And manufacturers of these applications would then have to research to understand to create a symbol for the fixture, to create its likeness, to understand the output. There were so many different avenues that was very confusing. So GDTF was developed as a combination between some different manufacturers and then shared out with all the manufacturers. And the key idea is that lighting manufacturers who are making fixtures, they make a GDTF file that describes their fixture. And it has the entire DMX protocol or map within it, but it also has lots more information such as a 2D and 3D image of the fixture. It also has all the gobo images. It has color information, including the wavelengths of color that come out of it, either through LEDs or through dichroics. It has the exact lumen output. It has lots and lots of information that describes this fixture. And hopefully it's all correct because it came from the manufacturer of the fixture. Then that same information can be used across multiple applications, such as a visualizer, a CAD program, and a console. And they're all using the same exact information to create that digital twin of the real light and use it in these various applications. So by having one general source, which is the GDTF file, you now have that shared resource across all the applications. And what's also great is they're all found in one place. There's one repository at GDTF Share online where you get the GDTF files. Now, it's expanded more, and it's not just the people that are creating these from the manufacturers. Anybody can create a GDTF file. But if you're using a GDTF file, you want to use the GDTF file that came directly from the manufacturer if they've created one, because that's going to be the closest thing to a digital twin of that light. The other great thing is it's not just for programmers. GDTF files have lots of information in there that might be difficult for a designer to find. For example, if you're looking for gobos to put into your magic sheet, well, you can download the GDTF file and extract those gobos, those gobo images. No longer do you have to reach out to manufacturers and ask for them. They're right there available. There's a great tool online at gdtfhub.com GDTF.com. You go onto that website, and there you can find all these other tools working with GDTF. And one of my favorites is GDTF Bench. And I can just pick 3 different fixtures, and it will compare and tell me all the different specs based on the GDTF files. It'll show me how many gobos, what their zoom range is, their lumen output, all that information, and it makes the spreadsheet really easy. Additionally, you can go on there and you can search, I need a fixture that zooms down to 4 degrees. It'll immediately spit out all these fixtures have zoom ranges between that range. So it's really wonderful what you can do with GDTF.
You know what's funny, Brad? Because I really have no life, and there's nothing I love more than listening to the dulcet tones of David Jacques when I'm driving to work. So I actually, this morning when I was going to work, tuned into your original episode of Light Talk back in 2018. And one of the questions you were asked was, what's the biggest industry problem that exists? Granted, in 2018. And one of the things you pointed out was fixture libraries.
All right.
It sounds like you've solved it. So congratulations, my friend.
You solved it.
Again, I can't take credit. I didn't solve it myself, but I'm happy the industry has solved it. And it's been around for about 5 years, and it's really picked up steam. There's over 6,000 GDTF files available right now, and they're easy to download directly into your console or your CAD software, your visualizer software. And then there's a great subset called MVR, or My Virtual Rig, so that once you've drawn your plot, you can actually just import and export between all these different applications, and everything transfers with it. So if you've drawn the plot in Vectorworks, and then you've got your file in your ETC console, you decide to make a change and move a patch thing around or change where a fixture's at in 3D, you just re-export the MVR back, and all your plots in Vectorworks are updated. Quick and easy.
Now, at Showlight, didn't you do a demo or something I heard about for that?
Yes, so I did a talk at Showlight about GDTF. I was honored to be able to do that. And this time what I did to explain it is I did a lot of props that I had built props with paper bags and all to really explain the workflow with GDTF. And that video should be online soon. And I encourage everybody who's interested in GDTF to look for that on the Showlight website and watch my explanation of GDTF and MVR.
Is that a proprietary thing, or can we put that on the Light Talk website for people to see?
You'll be able to share it, yes.
That might be something to do, David. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. So, Brad, we ask all our guests the same last question, and I think we're about at that time. And as you know, because you've been on the show before and you've been following Light Talk, a lot of our listeners are educators and students, and a lot of people finding their way, young professionals finding their way through the business. And as Dennis said earlier, we've started this program basically where we're bringing a lot of young designers who are just starting, going into the business. You've served as a technician, as a designer, as an artist, a wide, varied career in our industry. So you know a lot about a lot of the areas of our industry and getting started. And we always ask our guests, what advice they would give to young artists. We would love to hear from you about that. And one other thing that I will bring up is that we know that your son is actually in the business now, and he's a young artist. So you want to tell us a little bit about your son and also any advice that you may have for our listeners?
Yeah, certainly. My son, Matt, he has been touring now for about 10 years, and I'm really proud of him. Right out of high school, he decided that he wanted to be working in this business. He was doing some of it during high school, but then he decided he wanted to make a career of it. So what he did is he actually went to PRG in Vegas and started with their internship program. And this is one of the things actually I promote to students all the time. It's a really wonderful way to get ingrained into the world of touring particularly, but it could be any other world of what we do. You go to PRG or Upstaging or Four Wall or any of these big companies, they all have internship programs, and you can get paid to go there and work in the shop. And once you work in the shop, they will teach you all about how to put together rigs, how to test things, how to QC things, and they'll see if you're a good worker. And if you're a good worker, then they might move you up to go out and work on a local show. If you do that well, then they might eventually take you out on a tour. It doesn't happen instantly because they have to know they can entrust in you. It costs a lot of money to take you out as a technician on a tour. So they need to know they can trust you and that you're a good hard worker and you're passionate. And then time will tell and they will get you in their routine, and you now have been paid to learn and you immediately have work right out of it. And whether you're being a designer or you're going to be a programmer or a technician, it's a great way to jump into the business and really learn a lot. And depending on each of these companies, they have different specialties. Upstaging, of course, does lots of touring, but they also do corporate events. If you get involved with PRG, what they do is, depending on where you do the internship, they have a different focus. In New York, their focus is, of course, mostly theatrical. In Las Vegas, it's mostly touring. And in California, it's mostly television and corporate events. So you kind of, not that you're locked into those in those locations, but they kind of focus in on that. So one of my top advices for young people is to look at these internships. It's not necessarily a replacement for school, or maybe if school's not for you, you can do the internship, but it's a great way to get out into the field and learn a lot of real world applications and how shows go together while being paid and having a lot of fun. And again, my son started on that about 10 years ago. He did the internship, and now he has toured the world with all different bands. He's done corporate events. He's done, he hasn't done theater yet much, but he's done corporate events. He's just finished a television production. He's doing shows right now at the Sphere, some of the residencies, and having a ball. And I'm just so proud of him, watching him run big shows and have a great time. It's been a lot of fun to do that.
Has he taught the old dog some new tricks?
Oh, yes, he has taught me a few tricks here and there. Yes, for sure. And he often will be somewhere in the world. He'll text me and say, "Hey, do you remember so-and-so? Because they just saw me here and they wanted to say hi." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that guy." It's always fun.
Well, make sure you keep him away from the theater, because he's not going to make any money in the theater. He's making too much money already.
It sounds like he'd fit right into our Emerging Young Designer series.
Yeah, I will talk to him. And real quick, I got to say this fun story. When he was, I don't know, a couple years into touring, he was touring with Stevie Nicks, and Chris Lose was the lighting designer on that. And Chris knew that we were coming to see the show when they came to Austin. And they came and played the Frank Irwin Center, which is a place that I took Matt when he was young. And we watched the Sesame Street live, and he pointed at what he called the daddy lights in the rig. And then I took him as he grew up to a Metallica show and let him hit buttons on Metallica there. I took him to other concerts there. He graduated from that venue. And then finally this one evening, he was there for Stevie Nicks, that he was on the crew. And Chris had been teaching him to run the show. And Chris Lose told him, said, "You know what, Matt, tonight you're going to run the show because your dad's here. You're going to run the show and you're going to call spots, and I'm putting your dad on headsets to listen." So it was just this awesome dad moment for me to be there on headsets, watching him run this major concert, hearing him call the spots. It was just, I still get chills even right now. It was just the great circle of this industry. And
I'm
I'm
just
so
curious, does he have any musical ability? Does he play an instrument or anything?
No, he does not play an instrument like me. He plays the light board.
That's his keyboard.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, Brad, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's terrific to see you again. It's been, 8 years since you've been on the show? 7 years, something like that? It was crazy. It's so great to have you back on.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be back, and hopefully we can do it again.
So have a wonderful summer, Brad, and we'll look forward to seeing you in 8 years when we're really old.
Yeah. Thank you.
The rocking sounds of the Luminoids tell us that once again you've spent another morning listening to Light Talk. You can hear our show on just about every podcast site out there. Check out our website at lighttalk.org, and be sure to follow us on Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. That way you will not miss a second of Light Talk insanity.
No guarantee is offered regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on this podcast. However,
if you do decide to litigate, you will be dealing with me, Snoot, from the Snoot Group. And you don't want to with me, because I will make your life unbearably miserable as I drain the retirement funds from these Lumen bozos.
Light Talk is written and produced by the Lumen Brothers and Sister, coming to you from Long Beach, the Lone Star State, St. Bart's, the Big Apple, and the Chattanooga Choo Choo in Tennessee.
And be sure to join us next week when we talk about more lighting shenanigans and serve you more of our casserole of nonsense.
Light Talk, broadcasting questionable Lumen knowledge and humor around the world.
So we'll see you all next Saturday morning. Bye-bye from Light Talk.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.